OCR, one of the three main exam boards, is set to remove works by John Keats, Thomas Hardy, Wilfred Owen and Larkin from its English literature syllabus from this September. Of the 15 poets whose work has been added instead, in OCR's words, 14 are poets of colour, 6 are black women, 1 is of South Asian heritage. Our new poets also include disabled and LGBTQ+ voices. So is this cultural vandalism? That's what the Secretary of State for Education has called it. He's tweeted, Larkin and Owen are two of our finest poets. Removing their work from the curriculum is cultural vandalism. Their work must be passed on to future generations as it was to me. I will be speaking to the exam board to make this clear. Joining me now to react to this is the Secretary of the Thomas Hardy Society and GCSE English Literature tutor, Dr Tracy Hayes. Dr Hayes, thanks very much for joining me today. So when it comes to this, what we call decolonising the curriculum, a lot of people are arguing that all they're doing is they're bringing in voices that have been previously marginalised, that we haven't been able to hear before, and that often we haven't heard of them because of discourses of racism, homophobia, sexism, etc. Do you think there's any merit in that argument?
There's a merit in the argument of bringing new voices in. There is no merit in the argument of removing past voices to accommodate them. I would be of the opinion of having them both side by side. Dropping
gay poets such as Wilfred Owen and Sigrid Sassoon in the name of inclusivity, how does that work?
Perhaps it doesn't. Inclusivity means all. So having one South Asian poet doesn't smack of inclusivity to me. Dropping people who were there at the time during the war, suffering atrocities, who were LGBTQ, like Wilfred Owen and Sigrid Sassoon, at a point in history when it was a punishable offence. Dropping these people, I don't understand. That's not inclusivity.
But also, why do we have this obsession with identity, group identity, and that kind of very trendy political notion that really doesn't have anything much to do with the appreciation of art and literature?
Art and literature are an interesting subject when it comes to context. Context, as far as I'm concerned, is absolutely crucial. You cannot appreciate what you have now without a reference point in the past to compare it to. So identity is important, but we also do need to remember to divorce the creator from the creation to some point. Otherwise, we'd have to get rid of Dickens. He was an incredibly awful man in private, and yet he was a genius of the language and is therefore, quite rightly, on all school syllabuses. So where do you stop?
Well, I suppose the point about acknowledging that identity can be important in an artist's life is all well and good. But if you, I feel that you kind of run the risk of reducing art and poetry just to a tick box exercise of well, this is another straight white male, and that's the most important thing about him. Being straight, white, and male is not the most important thing about a poet. You know, that it just isn't. It's very, very low down the list as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely, I agree with you completely. Leavis is responsible for this canon we supposedly have now, and he was obviously establishment white male. But the people in the said canon aren't all establishment white male, and they should be kept on the syllabus for the merits of their writing. We are teaching their writing. We are not teaching them as a person. Speaking personally as an English literature and language tutor, I give the context of an author simply to give a background. It's the author's work I teach, and you cannot teach modern literature when you don't have a past point to refer it to and compare it with. And it's quite ironic, I find, that I have taught the AQA exam board rather than OCR, and the Year 11 GCSE Poetry Anthology exam this year was Bayonet Charge by Ted Heath, World War I poem.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much of this stuff does date from the sort of the postmodern movement within literary studies and the way in which, you know, when I was studying English literature at university,